All right, guys, what's going on? This is Logan with West Desert Shooter. It's been a few months, I know, but just wasn't really feeling the reloading and shooting thing for a while. Took some time, took a step away. I finally felt up to it again and excited to share some results with you guys. In this video, I am not showing any shooting footage or range footage. Previously, I had gotten into a rhythm last year of doing more in-depth videos, going out to the range and filming and all that. And truthfully, it really starts to become a chore like that. It's difficult to film targets and groups and all this at the same time with the way I did it. So for this video, I did not do that. I just wanted to go out and enjoy the new barrel that I had put on this action, and we're going to cover all the details of the rifle real quick. And just wanted to go out and enjoy that and kind of shoot in a relaxed fashion, not trying to run around and deal with cameras and all that. So the info in here is all still good. Ultimately, you can learn just as much as you always could have, but you're just not going to be out on the range with me on this video. Let's cover our rifle here. This is an American Rifle Company Archimedes Action. It is an American Rifle Company CeeLo chassis. Up top, we've got our tracked optics. This is the Toric Ultra HD, and this is the 4-30 model. MRAD, very, very nice scope. Tracked is always some of my favorites, so always stoked to have those on there. Towards the tail of the rifle, we've got our adjustable bag rider out back there, and then we've got our protector model that coincides with and slides along that leather bag. It is an adjustable rear base, but it's not a monopod in the back. It actually lets the rifle recoil freely and is super finely adjustable for when you're sitting out there with your rifle on the bipod in the front, and then you have fine threading adjustment on the rear. It makes it super nice to shoot. I've already had the question on Instagram. Somebody asked how I mounted that. So I have the American Rifle Company steel weight in the rear with attached steel weights on the sides, and I drilled and tapped that steel weight in the rear and just bolted that guy right into it. So that's how that worked out. Other things on the rifle, American Rifle Company rings. We've got an MDT SkyPod out front to support the rifle. For the magazine, we've got an MDT window magazine. It's a 12-round AICS mag, 308 style cartridges. Now, as I mentioned, this is a brand new barrel. This is the first trip out with this barrel, and I had a new barrel spun up by Precision. They're out of northern Utah. Garrett Preece up there does really awesome work. And I've seen pictures online and groups of all that, and he's really more well known in the competition side of things. Not really planning on competing with this particular caliber on this rifle, just wanted to have a great shooting rifle, and today we're going to find out if we got that. Out front, we've got 5/8 24 threads. We've got our Huxworks 762 titanium suppressor out there. Yeah, that pretty well covers the rifle and all the things that go along with it. So now it's time to talk about reloading components. In today's video, we're shooting our Alpha Munitions brand new 7mm-08 brass large rifle primer. You can see the box hanging out over here on the right. And then we chose 4 different powders and 2 different projectiles. So we're going to be shooting 2 types of powder with 1 bullet. So for the Hornady, we shot IMR 4350 and Varget. And then for the Barnes, we shot CFE 223 and IMR 4064. I really like the burn rate range that the 708 comes in. It's not so bottlenecked that you need the slower 4350 powder range. So I already had 223 powders as well as the slower burning powders for the Creedmoor stuff. So I have the really awesome range of powders to select for the 708. It seems like almost all the powder I have has a use in this cartridge if you choose the right weight bullet. So that's going to be pretty fun. Oh, key details on the barrel itself. It is 20 inches long, a 1-to-8 twist, and it is a heavy palma contour. The barrel is a stainless barrel. It is just Cerakoted black to go along with the rest of the rifle. If I were to shoot a more hot rod cartridge that was going to burn out the barrel, I probably wouldn't go for the Cerakote option, but it just looks so damn good, and I don't intend on burning this barrel out super quick, so I went for it anyway, and I think it looks really good. So let's cover some of the results that we got out there on the range today. We'll start out with IMR 4350. Again, this is with the Hornady 162 grain ELD-M. Shout out to our friends over at Utah Airguns. They let me borrow one of their FX chronographs, the True Ballistic chronograph from FX. And again, that's Utah Airguns. They carry those, and were kind enough to let me try one out here on the channel. So for the Hornady 162 grain IMR 4350, what I did is I shot 2 groups for each type of powder. And so again, we've got 2 types of bullets, 2 groups per powder, 2 powders per bullet. So in IMR 4350, what I did is I loaded up 1 group loaded to an overall length of 2.8, and then a second group loaded up to 2.940. And that is also the same thing I did with the Varget charges with the Hornady 162 grain ELD-M. That should put us about 35 thousandths off the lands at the longer length. And then of course 2.8, just kind of the standard magazine loaded length. So 42 grains of IMR 4350 got us right at that 2,300 feet a second mark. Our first group produced an 8.7 standard deviation. Unfortunately, the chronograph gave me a little bit of trouble there on our second group, and I didn't get good enough readings to really trust the standard deviation on that. But again, the average came in around 2,300. So the first group of IMR 4350 loaded to 2.8 overall length. Those are shots number 5 through 10 that ever went through the barrel. So this is a new barrel. It's kind of a bad idea to try and do immediately go for groups with a brand new rifle that hasn't been fouled in or anything like that. I just wanted to get out there and shoot and have some fun. And so that's really what this is about. So it's definitely possible that this thing can improve as it goes along. But as far as that caveat goes, this first group is definitely not representative of this rifle, coming in at a 1.8 inch group. Now, another theory I have is also that the rear bag for that protector model also needed to be shot in, meaning under recoil it kind of needed to settle in on that rear bag, and afterwards it started shooting pretty damn good after this first group. So the follow-up group with the longer overall length on those rounds, 42 grains of IMR 4350, that one came in at a 0.475 inches. So shots number 10 through 15 coming in 5-shot group under a 1/2 inch, and a great looking group, no doubt. That got me excited. That was my second real group of the day, and it was starting to look very promising. Moving on to Varget. We loaded up our Varget ammunition with 38.5 grains, again 2.8 and 2.940 overall length. First group of Varget came in at 2482 feet a second with an SD of 9.4 and a group size of 0.78. Not too bad, under an inch. Not as pretty as like a ragged hole, but hey, under an inch we'll take it, especially for first trip with the rifle and just throwing random components together. Now we're going to shoot the longer overall length at the 2.940. Average velocity 2475, very similar, with an SD of 10.3, very similar. But this time she really stacked them up and gave us a 0.35 inch 5-shot group. So wow, definitely like the precision performance we're seeing right there, no doubt. Moving on to the Barnes bullets, the 171 grain match burner. This one we're starting off with CFE 223, 41 grains of CFE 223. Now these bullets I'm going to load to 2.8 overall and 2.9 overall length. Velocities on our 41 grains at 2.8 inches were 2450 feet a second with an SD of 21. That was a bit odd, seemed like, but it is a ball powder. Maybe that's the excuse it needs. Grouped in at 0.84 inches. Not the prettiest thing on paper, but again, under an inch on our first trip, I'm pretty happy with that. Just picking a load out of my ass doesn't really matter. Just pick something that said it was safe, and indeed it was. All the brass looks super fine. All the velocities were kind of surprisingly low, but I guess not so surprising considering it's a 20-inch barrel. Second group of CFE loaded out to 2.9 overall length, 2429 feet a second, SD of 18, again bad SDs, and then we got a 0.67 inch group, not too bad. Definitely liking how the rifle's shooting as we're moving our way along. Then we're going to change over to IMR 4064 with the 171 grain match burner. I'm still kind of new to this powder. I bought it for my 308, but it's highly recommended in the 308 stuff, so I threw some in the 708, and I think she's performing for us. So 38.5 grains of 4064. Average velocity 2460 with an SD of 8.9, and that shot into 0.52 inches at 100 yards. Pretty happy about that. Moving on, the longer overall length, 2447. We lost a little bit of speed. Our SD came down just a touch at 7.9 and gave us a 0.49 inch group. So going out there and shooting on our first trip, we had 3 5-shot groups go into sub half inch at 100 yards. And on this morning, I went out in the morning. It is, let's see, what date is it? It's almost May now, so it's getting pretty hot in the desert pretty quick in the morning. And you really have to battle with mirage coming off the ground where I'm at, because I'm laying down prone and I'm skimming right across the dirt into a cardboard target down at the end of the range. So I get a lot of mirage that I have to fight, and some it looks like my target is dancing around, which is really fun to deal with. But considering all that, I mean, she still shot amazingly well. So if I went out on a clear day without mirage, we could probably tighten these up just a bit. But overall, very happy with how the 708's performing, and Priest Precision knocked it out of the park. This thing, the fit and finish is great. I'm super stoked on this, and very happy to have this one back in the safe. As far as the reloading side of things goes, it was pretty much my standard procedure. We had Virgin Alpha Munitions 708 brass, so I took that, ran it through a 7mm expanding mandrel, which ends up oversizing my necks there. So then I run it through the Wilson bushing die to give us a 2/1000 neck tension, and then we go ahead and load it up. So we prime it, we use Federal Gold Metal Match primers, and pick your powder charge, seat your bullet with the Wilson Arbor Press seating die over there with the micrometer on top. Just super easy to use. I really like those. I like how it holds the brass nice and straight, holds the bullet nice and straight as it seats, and then you can really feel the pressure needed to seat your bullets down in there. Everything, I really like it. I need to get those run through a concentricity gauge, but I'd be real confident that that is very low run out ammunition. I guess one more detail I should throw in about the barrel is it has a CIP chamber for 7mm-08, which has more freebore in it than a SAMI chamber for 7mm-08. This is a 1:8 twist, so I assumed I would be shooting heavy bullets or capable of shooting heavy bullets. So I wanted that extra freebore over the SAMI cartridge so that I could just get more room in the case itself for powder. So we can run longer overall lengths and not have any issues doing that. And today it certainly seemed to like the longer overall lengths if we look at the trend on the target. But guys, that pretty well covers my range trip for the day. I hope you enjoyed the information provided in the video. Hopefully it helps you out. I definitely want to be shooting more various loads of different powders, different projectiles in 7mm-08. Now that I know this thing's a shooter, it just makes it more fun to go to the range and see if we can't come up with something that just shoots absolutely lights out. You know, kind of like that 0.35 inch group we already shot. Yeah, we're going to be revisiting that one. Thank you very much, Varget. Old time classic and favorite here on the channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching. Drop a comment down below, hit the thumbs up button, do some things to show YouTube that people still care about shooting and reloading. Thanks again, guys. We will see you in the next one.